So I've covered the who and the what somewhat, and now I'm at the where, who, what, where, when, why. And where I am right now is I am still CEO, president of a termite and pest control company. When I began 36 years ago in 1980, I married into it. My husband at the time, his father was involved with a pest control company. I was a sales rep because I loved sales. And I always wanted to be in business with my husband, and I thought it was going to be in ministry, but it ended up being in bugs. Go figure. And I went to FIDM, Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising. Go figure. I went from fashion to bugs. Really? So I got involved, and I'm thinking, okay, how can I help in this situation? And I decided I need to just jump right in. So I did. I jumped right in, and I learned how to answer the calls. I learned how to answer the calls in the sense of what kind of bug, what preparations need to be done. I listened to the needs of the person on the other end of the phone, and then I learned how to answer and how to fulfill that need, which is something we need to do on a regular basis. And I had no idea that during the 20 years of working and managing the operations of the company, that I was going to have an opportunity to purchase another company and head it up. And I did just that. In 2000, I bought Ecola, and it was owned by two men at the time, and it had 30 employees at the time. And I'm like, oh boy, how do I do this? And I only knew pest control, and I went into a company that did only termites. What's the difference? Quite a lot. And so I had to go on this journey of learning the differences between bugs and termites. And I was involved in most of the company was men. And here I am, a woman, running a company that was full of men, which was interesting. I'd go to industry functions, and a joke, I'd never have to wait for the bathroom because it was full of men, not women. It's kind of funny, but it's true. But there was a lot of pressure because here I am, a female, and I'm dealing with a man's world. Some can relate to what I'm saying right now. So I had to be smarter. I had to learn how to do this business and how to do it better. How do I do that? I listened to a lot of people. I researched a lot of different things and learned what everybody else was doing and tried to figure out what set me apart from them. And I listened very carefully to the needs of the customers that were calling, and I wanted to fulfill the needs. And we're called to do that, aren't we? So that's what I did. During this time, it takes a lot of sacrifice because when you're learning all of this, it takes a lot of time, and we only have 24 hours in a day. And so there is sacrifice. Whenever you're going to do anything, there's sacrifice. But God gave Jesus as the ultimate sacrifice out of his love for us. So we have to be focused on intention again, and making sure that we're doing the most important things that we can do day to day. So the company Ecola has grown. I've been heading this company up since 2000. We've grown, there's more offices. And when I purchased the company, I can remember the day that it happened. It was in March. And I cried because I had to go to my church because I was heavily involved in my church at the time. I was head usher, I was on the worship team, I was on the drama team. I helped direct people with their gifts, their spiritual gifts in the church. And I just loved everything I was doing. I just felt really good about where I was. And here there's this big turn of now I'm going to do something different. So why did I choose to do that? There's a number of reasons, but the biggest one that comes to mind, and it's really an important one, is my son, Tyson, at the age of 2, had an extreme asthma attack. And I was born with asthma myself, but I grew out of it at the age of 7. But there were many, many nights I can remember curled up in a ball, almost upside down, trying to figure out a position in which I could get my breath. And they were always at night, and it was very scary for me. And my mother would come in, and it was very, very special time that my mom would love on me and, you know, rock me and take me out in the cool air, or whatever she felt she needed to do in order to get me to have breath and relief from my asthma. So then here I am with my son, and at 2 years old, and the dreadful thing appears, asthma. He couldn't breathe. We were in a friend's house, and there were cats, and I immediately knew what to do. I went into, you know, high gear, and I was directing traffic big time, and I threw him in the shower with me and rinsed him all off, took off all his clothes, and had his father go get a spare set of clothes out of the car, and I had to get all of the cat off of him. I had to get everything around him to where he wasn't experiencing the trigger and the lack of breathing. And I knew what to do, and I just did it. And we immediately got him out of that house and drove home. And that was the beginning of a whole new venture. We were using products, and the customers would always say, "Is this safe for my children? Is this safe for my pets?" Well, here I am with my son who has asthma. And I'm asking myself that question with cleaning material, with all kinds of different things that were going on in the house, because my job as a mother is to protect my children and to make the environment healthy for them as much as possible. So when the opportunity came about that I could buy this company that was using alternative treatments to alleviate the problem of pests and termites, I decided that's something I wanted to be a part of. And so I bought the company. I liked it so much, I bought the company. And with that came a lot of, I had to take a lot of action. I had to learn a lot of things. But the outcome was that we were offering something different, something better in a lot of cases, because some people who have respiratory issues, elderly people who can't leave the house for 3 days and 2 nights, and we offer another way. It's a choice. We offer choices. And as a mother, I love to be able to have choices. So we educate people to the level in which they want to be educated and let them make the best decision for their individual needs. And I love being part of that. It took a lot, though, to get there, and I just realized that everything that was happening in my life prepared me for the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. And that's probably the same with you. Things that we go through, we realize that it just makes us bigger and better for the next thing. There were so many times owning this business and making decisions, and I say, I've been through the school of hard knocks. I've been through the school of hard knocks, and that's the best school to be from, because you learn, and it's deep rooted that you've learned the lessons. There's been so many times that decisions that I've made, I've had to look at the Bible and say, what does the Bible say about this decision? And it's really helped out a lot. And when I left the church, my duties at the church, not left the church, but when I left my responsibilities at the church, I had to go to my superior and say, I cannot do these jobs anymore. I can't work in ministry right now because I took on this huge job of running this business. I felt really bad about that because I felt so good about what I was doing. And then it occurred to me that my new employees were my new ministry. And I heard someone say, bloom where you're planted. And I think that's so true. Bloom where you're planted. Wherever you are is where you're supposed to be right this minute. So do the most with every minute that you have. And that's what I set out to do, is do the most with where I was. And here I am. Now we have 80 employees, we have 7 offices, and looking for more. I'm right now going through a hard time because I don't have enough people to take care of the amount of work that we have coming through our doors. And that's a nice problem, but it's still a problem. During all of this time, when I look back and I say on my voicemail, be a blessing to someone each and every day, I believe that. And you have to look for opportunities, but they're there. Believe me, they're there. It could be your next door neighbor. It could be somebody that's walking down the street. But somebody needs maybe just a smile. Somebody needs something from you. And all you need to do is just be aware, be alert, scan, and look for opportunities to just be a blessing to someone. Every chance you get, there's such a joy in giving. When I look over the time that I've spent now with Ecola, and I think about the people that I work with, I've been blessed. And it is a beautiful, beautiful day. I don't know about you, but my day has just started out incredible. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my day. Starting up, I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I realized I had to be somewhere at 7. I don't know about you, but how long does it take you to get ready in the morning? I know how long it takes me normally, but it's amazing what we can do when we're motivated and incentivized to get our bottoms out of bed and get up and get rolling. So today I'm going to continue on this journey of the show and talk to you more about the advantage. Have you ever felt like you needed some type of advantage? You know, you just didn't have all the knowledge that you needed, or you just didn't understand what to do, the next step, what way to go. I was in an airport, and when I have a long flight, I'm always going, okay, I need something to keep me occupied because I don't sit idle very easily. It's not easy for me to sit idly. So I found this book, and I've been talking about this book for the last 2 shows, I believe, and it's The Advantage, and it's talking about creating a team, but not only just creating a team, but a healthy one. And whether you're in a relationship, and this will help you in relationships personally, or you're in the business world and you need some guidance or some help, support, encouragement, inspiration, whatever your need is, you can get something out of what we're going to talk about today. So no matter where you are in your life, this show will help you, I promise. So I went to a convene meeting recently, and in the convene meeting, when I first walked in, my director, the chair, had written something on a piece of paper, and on it said this: you are creating the tomorrow you will live in with the attitudes, choices, values, and behaviors you are using today. Create well. And this is by Henry Cloud. And I thought that was so good and so perfect and goes along so well with this show and kind of where I am in life. You know, I said at the very beginning of this year, this show has been going for 5 years now. At the beginning of this year, I was talking about that this year is my year of being intentional. And we do need to be intentional because we don't know how long we have. We don't know how many days we have on this earth. And as I get older, people are leaving this earth. And it's happening more and more all the time. And people that you think are completely healthy and completely just living life to the fullest, and all of a sudden they get a health issue or something happens to them and no more. And so we need to be intentional with what we are doing every minute of every day, because every minute should count. So starting this chapter of this book, talking about building a cohesive leadership team. And like I said, this can apply to your personal life too. We're talking about engaging in conflict or not engaging in conflict. And so I'm going to start just reading from here. It says, when someone comes to a meeting and states an opinion or makes a suggestion that his teammates don't agree with, those teammates have a choice. They can explain their disagreement and work through it, or they can withhold their opinion and allow themselves to quickly lose respect for their colleague. When team members get used to choosing the latter option, withholding their opinions, frustration inevitably sets in. Essentially, they're deciding to tolerate their colleague rather than trust him. Okay, so the parallel. You're married and you disagree. It does happen. We all have disagreements. And if you don't, then I don't know what to say about that, because that's how we grow, right? By having conflict. But it's how we deal with those conflicts that make the difference. And that's what they're saying here in a team setting. But our marriage and our family is a team. We are working as a team, and we need to have a mission statement in our family just like we have a mission statement at work, don't we? What are we about as a family? What are we standing for? What is important to us as a family? And in the workplace, definitely we need to know what our mission statement, what our value statements are, what we're standing for.
And it helps us when we're making decisions, moving towards whatever that is. It helps us in this journey to help us with this. So what happens is when a person doesn't address what they disagree with, and they kind of, I've lived this, but shovel it under the rug and think it's going to go away, and it doesn't, it just gets bigger. That dust pile under the carpet, it just seems to get bigger. And so we do need to deal with it, and it's better not to shove it under the carpet. It's better to just deal with it right here, right now. And sometimes we might think, oh, I don't want to deal with the flack. I don't want to deal with what this is going to cause. But waiting, it's going to be worse. Take it from one who knows. I've lived it, and I can tell you that it's definitely going to be worse. So it's much better to just deal with it right here, right now. Yes, be wise and pick your timing wisely. Not when someone's hungry, not when they're tired. Choose your timing wisely. Sometimes I can remember back, and I didn't do that. When someone's tired and they're getting ready for bed, it's not the time to have this huge, deep conversations because we need to go to sleep. We need to let our brain rest because we're much better when we get up in the morning and we've had a full night's rest, aren't we? Just think of ourselves. We are much better off that way. So just think about that and be considerate, okay? That's all I'm saying. So where is the optimal place to be in this situation? The point where a team is engaged in all the constructive conflict they could possibly have, but never stepping over the line into destructive territory. Of course, this is impossible. In any team, or for that matter, in any family or marriage, someone at some point is going to step over the line and say or do something that isn't constructive. I know you're laughing, right? Maybe you're not laughing, maybe you're crying. But the point is this does happen, and it's not the end of the world. News to you, it's not the end of the world. I can remember being a young married, and I just thought everything was like, oh my gosh, I got to fix it right now. And it's not that way. We do need to face it, and we need to address it, and we need to check our own feelings. It's like the gas gauge on your car. It's there for a reason. We don't have to react to those feelings in a negative way, but we do need to pay attention to them because they're telling us something very important. And you can ask yourself this: why am I feeling this way? What was it that caused me to feel this way? And it can be a real indicator as to something that maybe a belief system that maybe needs to switch and change. Whatever it is, just pay attention to it. But rather than fearing this, teams need to accept that it will happen and learn to manage it. They must be willing to live through the messiness of recovering from slightly inappropriate conflict, so that they will have the courage to go back to the best place again and again. Eventually, they'll develop the confidence that they can survive an occasional step over the line and can even get stronger and build greater trust with one another when they do. That's really key, coming from a personal point of view, is that if you have conflict and you address the conflict, are you always going to agree? No. But we have to seek to understand more than to be understood, correct? Yes. And in that, we learn. But the most important part of all of this is trust. Building the trust that no matter what is going on, it doesn't change the love we have for each other, the feelings that we have, the caring, compassion that we have. It shouldn't change any of that. Yes, we can disagree. That's okay. But it doesn't mean we dislike each other. It just means we disagree. But this will never happen if executives are clinging to the side at the shallow end of the pool in the world of artificial harmony. Artificial harmony. Has anybody ever lived in artificial harmony? I have. Nowhere does this tendency toward artificial harmony show itself more than in mission-driven nonprofit organizations, most notably churches. This is so true. People who work in those organizations tend to have a misguided idea that they cannot be frustrated or disagreeable with one another. What they're doing is confusing being nice with being kind. That's so funny that they wrote that there, because I came to the conclusion that people were taking advantage because they felt like my kindness was weakness. And I have to let people know when they come to work for me that I'm kind because I care. But don't confuse the two. I'm kind, but I'm not weak. If I need to take action, I will take action. Those fierce conversations that we have to have, nobody really likes to have those, do we? We don't like to have those fierce conversations. But you know what I'm amazed about is every time I hinder, and I hinder, that's not the right word, every time I hold back or every time that I just try to avoid, what happens is the problem gets worse. And then when the pain has to be worth the gain, and when the pain gets to the point where I have to face it, I have a sigh of relief. I have a new level of understanding of the situation. And I think to myself, why didn't I deal with that before? Why didn't I deal with that a long time ago? It could have saved so much in strife and negative energy. And so I recommend highly that if you have those issues, choose your time wisely, but address the issues. Two people who trust and care about one another and are engaged in something important should feel compelled to disagree, and sometimes passionately, when they see things differently. You know, God created us for a specific purpose, didn't He? And that passion inside of us, we need to keep that alive. And we can't have people around us that are going to squelch that. You can't have people that are going to put that fire out. You want to have people around us that are going to help with that fire and make that fire build even more. You know how to do everything.
Oh,
You know,
so
I
that's
don't even know how to make my cable, my TV work, my remote control. I have trouble with the most simplest of things.
Right.
You helped put my fan in, and I had a contractor, and he told me to call you because he was a contractor, and he couldn't put it on without you.
Right.
And I'm like, Lisa, you got to come over because he doesn't know how to do this.
right.
Yeah, but you laid your own floor.
Yeah, I've done a lot. Well, I was raised on a ranch, so we did all our own stuff. We didn't call the vet. We got out there and worked with the cows, and I was just a different life I was taught. I'm more of a pioneer woman,
And that's awesome.
and
I
that's
respect
fine with
that.
me. I'm totally cool with it.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's great. I'm not ashamed of it.
But you
But
can
it's-
dress up and be pretty.
yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
that's
some of my
awesome.
friends wouldn't recognize me today, but that's who is that? Is that Lisa?
Totally.
Yeah.
You look like a movie star.
Oh, well, you're a movie star.
No, you look like a movie star
Oh,
right now.
thank you.
And I noticed you're wearing the bracelet I got you.
Yes.
Oh, and the other bracelet
other
I got
bracelet.
you. Aw, that's so sweet, and I love this piece right here. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Appreciate that.
So let's say that you have a message to give to the people that are watching right now. What would you want to say to them?
I'd definitely say that taking things down to the basics, remembering who you are, dig deep, believe in yourself, definitely trust, read the Bible more. And there's so many messages in there that will just make so much sense. And it's not hard to understand. You don't have to learn Greek and Hebrew. You can just read it and you'll get it, But just owning a Bible doesn't do it. Go to church with a friend. Be involved with positive people. And I think just believe in yourself. And the Bible will teach you to do that. It will teach you to treat others with respect and to live a good life. And there's so many chapters in the Bible that will get you through so many things. Because in the Bible, they went through a lot of tough stuff.
Right.
When you read
true.
through that, there's some pretty horrific things, much worse than any of us are ever going to face, that they went through. And they came out praising God and with a smile and a song. And I think we can learn from those people. So if we stop being so selfish about me, and we start going and looking at what we can do for ourselves, the Bible has a lot of answers, and positive people. I'd say have a friend like Sue, or get a hold of books that she's made. See how she's come through all her struggles and how she's overcome a lot of really horrible things. I don't know as bad as the Bible, but they were pretty bad. And, just learn how to overcome your mind more than anything. And you will win. You can do it. You can't do it laying on the couch,
Right.
being lazy, and then blame the world because you didn't do anything. You didn't, even on the couch you can read. And if you're not reading the book, or if you're not watching good programs, and you mentioned Hallmark. Hallmark is so positive. It's got so many uplifting stories. And obviously it seems like it's a Christian-based channel, but I'm not sure. However, it does seem like it's got a lot of positive messages, and I really like it. I think it's my favorite pastime if I am watching TV, unless I
Yeah.
watch the game shows and I just laugh at the answers people give. But
You love to laugh.
oh, I love to laugh. I mean, that's the big key.
It's amazing how our words have such power, and they really truly do. So we really, really have to be careful about the words we choose to speak and what we are saying to ourselves in our self-talk and to those that we come in contact with. Our words are a two-edged sword, and they can either hurt or they can help. And so I'm hoping that the lesson to be learned here for you is that if you do need to focus on words you choose and even your thought process and your belief system, do you have faith or not? That you focus on what's really important. And what's really important to me is to be a blessing and to build people up. To take time to recognize people for the God's beauty that they have, to see people through God's eyes. And when we do that, they begin to shine and they blossom and they bloom. And there is no better blessing than to bring joy and to give to those that you're around. And sometimes it's the simplest of things. It doesn't have to be huge. It's just the simplest of action, or just a smile sometimes, or a hug, or just a positive reinforcement that can help people just, I don't know, look at themselves maybe just a little different. So I'm hoping that you take this time to think about yourself, look at yourself in the mirror, say, what kind of person am I? Who do I want to be? And make those little adjustments that are going to make you a better person. And watch your words. Even as simple as saying, I'm starving, because you're not. Simple as saying, oh, I'm so ugly. You're not. I can never do that, or I'm unworthy. Yes, you can, and yes, you are. But we have to believe it, and how you believe it is just watch your words. Watch your thoughts.